Hey, shalom, brothers and sisters. This is Brother Richard at Altruistic Torah Studies, and today I'm coming to you with Commandment number 7. This is Study 7, Commandment 7, and we are going to explore this together. So if you would you please grab your scriptures and follow along if you would like, and or grab your phone and look on your app, like I do quite often. I do have these memorized, but what I will say about that is it's good to memorize things, but it's also good to set your eyes on them repeatedly over and over again, because you can, especially with the scriptures, get more than the surface level of meaning on things if you continually study and look over the word. Okay, so let's turn to Exodus or Shemot, chapter 20. Verse 14, I kind of wrote through that just a little bit. Chapter 20, verse 14 of Shemot or Exodus. You do not commit adultery. You do not commit adultery. And another witness in the Torah is going to be in the book or the scroll of Deuteronomy or Devarim. Okay? And that'll be Deuteronomy or Devarim 5, chapter 5, verse 18. And it reads, you do not commit adultery. Okay. So everyone on the surface level understands what adultery actually means. Adultery, an individual might well compare this to something going on in a relationship, a marriage perhaps, because it's pretty important, right? So you don't want to have an adulterous marriage. All right, so adultery in a marriage is when one of the partners or one of the participants, either the bride or the groom, decide to go outside of the marriage for intercourse. And it doesn't even have to be intercourse. It can be verbalized. It can be insinuated and all these different things. But anyway, adultery, in my humble opinion, is physical as well as verbal, and yet and still it's all adultery. It's going to someone else other than your mate for comfort, loving comfort / sexual comfort, and or not considering your mate as the sole one that you are married to and faithful to. Key word there, faithful. So those that commit adultery are faithless. They are not faithful. You get me? And so you start to get a little bit of a picture here. So what we have done is we have kind of painted a picture of what the surface level of adultery means, but I believe we can also turn to the book of Mathew, chapter 5, verse 27. And we're not going to just get a basic understanding of this. Mashiach Yahushua is about to expand upon this about adultery. Okay? So Mathew, chapter 5, verse 27. You have heard that it is said to those of old, back in the day when the Torah was given, it's still viable today, you shall not commit adultery. Okay, and here's the things, the references: Exodus 20, verse 14, Deuteronomy 5, verse 18. Next verse, 28. But I say to you that everyone looking at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. So, this is the Mashiach saying that not only is the commandment, do not commit adultery, the seventh commandment, 7, that's the number. He's also going a bit further with that and saying that even those that dwell upon these thoughts of committing sexual acts or adulterous thoughts with a woman, this would be a man thinking about a woman, I guess today, who knows what. But my point of it all is dwelling upon those things is indeed a sin. Now, you might look at a person, a woman, if you're a man, and feel like they're attractive, but you look once because you're walking by. You do not crank your head and do stupid crap, okay? You be a man about it, a man of Elohim, okay, because you're working on that, right? And you continue to walk on and be satisfied with your lot in life, which is your wife, if in fact you are a married man. Okay? If you're not, you should still watch out, because you can also be in a relationship that's or you could start some stuff with someone, that's uh, you can have adulterous thoughts. You should not have premarital uh, sex, if at all possible. And so I'm kind of getting tripped up here. So let's keep on what we're doing. Okay. So what we have here is we have the Mashiach talking about this, and this is a condition. He says, with her in your heart. So this is a condition of the heart. This is a condition of who you are character-wise if you're looking upon a woman and dwelling upon this person. Okay? And so this man's not necessarily listed as being married. So adultery can still be committed by a person that's single. You don't think about those kind of things outside of marriage. You don't dwell upon them anyway, because it can cause you to sin. So with that, we've had the witnesses in the Torah. We've had Exodus and Deuteronomy. Okay, and then we went to the renewed covenant. Okay, we went to Mathew, and so those are the witnesses we're going to stick with. So what we have here next is we're going to think about what the further meaning of this is. So this is the seventh commandment, and the seventh day Sabbath is a sign of the covenant. It is a wedding ring that we wear in our relationship. We are called the bride of Messiah if in fact we have taken on the covenant, okay, and taken up the offering of the covenant to us, the marriage contract, the ketubah, okay? And so he is the groom, okay, and it is a marriage. So if you are not keeping the Sabbath, if you are not keeping the Sabbaths, if you are not keeping the scriptures, because all of the Torah is viable today, along with the prophets and the writings, and the renewed covenant is just an example, and not only an example, but it is the explanation. Well, the explanation. It is the offering back up of the covenant to you after you were a harlot. Okay, so now that we are in a relationship and have this offered back up to us generations later through Messiah Yahushua, Mashiach Yahushua, we are to be faithful to him. We are not to break the covenant. We are to keep the Sabbaths and live. We are to be faithful. Okay, so harlotry or adultery is also worshiping falsely. So if you are doing anything other than what is prescribed by the scriptures, the Torah, the prophets, the writings, the renewed covenant, then you are in harlotry. If you cannot find it in the scriptures, then you are cheating on the Father if you are observing these things and in the stead of observing the commandments that the Father has for you. They're the loving teachings is what they are. He's like, listen, I love you. Do these things so that you'll live. Okay? That's a continual concept all throughout the commandments. Okay? All throughout the Torah and the writings, prophets, renewed covenant. Okay? Renewed, like I said, because it's re-offered up to us through the death, burial, and resurrection of the Messiah on Pesach, Passover, not Ishtar, Easter, not a birth on Christmas. Those things are not even in the scriptures, except for by an error that was made by scribes that were putting things in there on purpose and adding to or taking away from the scriptures. So if you're in a situation that you're being introduced to something other than the way, the truth, the light, the Torah, the renewed covenant, the prophets, the writings, then you need to turn away from those things and those people that promote those things, and you need to head back to the Father's house. You can open the scriptures just like I have. You can open the scriptures just like brothers and sisters that I know have done, and you can get this because the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, the very spoken breath of the Father will teach you the Torah, okay? Will teach you the testimony of Yahushua, Revelations 12:17, which, by the way, that is the recipe for being the remnant. Because if you're not the remnant, if you're not the ones that are keeping the commandments and the testimony of Messiah, which is to keep the commandments, then you're on the other side. Because there's only two sides. And one of them is a wide swath, a wide pathway that looks like a myriad of rabbit trails and spider veins and spider webs that people could just have 3,000, I don't know, 6 million, just say. I don't know how many religions there are, and it doesn't matter because they will not exist in the kingdom. The only true aspect of anything in life is the Father is. He says, I am. That's how he was to be introduced. He says, I am, because he is. Okay? And right now, he's listening to you. He's listening to me, and he hears what we're saying, and he considers those things. Okay? He listens to his children, and he hears our prayers. But those that do not pray to him in truth and spirit, their prayers are an abomination. And the truth is the Torah. And the spirit is the Ruach HaKodesh, which is the teacher of the Torah. You see the connection, okay? I certainly do, and I hope that you do as well. So we have a physical adultery and we have a spiritual adultery. Physical adultery is obviously cheating on your spouse, okay, which is horrible and disgusting. And cheating or having unwed sex, okay? And also, it's dwelling upon these things because, look, and I've got this written too, and I've said this before, it's worth repeating, obviously. We have intentions. Maybe you wake up with good intentions. If you don't, you probably should start to figure out a way to do that. Next, you have your thoughts, because your thoughts are attached to your intentions. And your thoughts start to form up, and they're connected to your emotions, okay? Then your emotions may cause you to say some words. It may be, hey, I love you, honey. Or it may be something really ugly to someone who pisses you off, right? And so then you have your actions. So you have your intentions, your thoughts, your emotions, your words, and your actions. If you control your intentions and you intend to do righteousness when you wake, then your thoughts will, for the most part, be directed in a righteous direction. Now, we know we have thoughts that don't belong to us, by the way. The difference between those kind of thoughts and the kind of thoughts that are righteous is we do not act on unrighteous thoughts. The difference between people that act on righteous thoughts and act on crazy thoughts or unrighteous thoughts, sanity, okay? You want to live, you want to follow the creator of the world. So sanity is also righteousness, in my opinion. Insanity is wickedness, evil, and unrighteousness, okay? So you have your thoughts. Some of those things that come to your mind, you kick them out because they don't belong to you. Pray against those things, by the way. The righteous thoughts, you dwell on those things, okay? And you dwell on those things, and then your emotions will be tied to these righteous thoughts, okay? And if your emotions are tied to these righteous thoughts, then your words will be righteous words. And words are powerful. We're going to have another teaching on that because there's a lot to words themselves and what they're actually even made out of, okay? So, a little tidbit for you to think upon. And then your words, because you can say and get yourself into a lot of trouble. And you can say things and get yourself into wonderful situations as well. And speak words of life, which are Torah. And then your actions, obey. Go do something or refrain from doing something. And these things are considered the actions of a righteous bride, and you, in fact, will be defending yourself against committing adultery, okay? And all those things tie together, because if you're thinking, if your intentions are righteous, you're not going to go off and dwell on another woman while you're married. You're not going to lust after someone and take that into your mind. You're not going to go and say things to someone that you're not supposed to say. And things do happen, therefore repentance. But steer clear of those things because it's going to turn into your actions. And the Mashiach says that your thoughts that you dwell upon can be adulterous. So that's kind of where I'm going with that right now. Basically, we have the physical adultery, and which is the surface understanding, and we have the spiritual adultery, which is the actuality of the commandment as well. And I don't want to. It is the depth of the seventh commandment. The seventh commandment: keep the seventh day Sabbath, which is the wedding ring. Be faithful. Do not be adulterous. The Sabbath was never changed by anyone. And anyone that tells you that is a person that is unlearned, and either that or, they're straight from the pit of hell with their doctrine, because there is no such thing, and there will be no such thing as any other doctrine in the kingdom. Uh, so that's a little strong, but it's the truth, okay? And so you're on my channel. You're going to hear those things, and I hope that I'm your flavor. That I speak to you, speak into your mind, because I do know that certain people do speak, and when they speak to my mind. They speak to my heart, which is much important. Okay, I want to speak words of life into your mind, into your ears, and you look at my cool shirt that I got from brother TJ. Okay, but anyway, I want to bless you. All right, so keep the seventh commandment. All right, be faithful. Be faithful to your spouse. Be faithful to your brothers and sisters. Be faithful first and foremost to the Father, Abba Yahuwah, who is in the heavenlies and who is everywhere around us as we speak. How amazing! And Yahushua HaMashiach, his one and only begotten Son. So I'm thankful for you. I love every single one of you, and I can say that because the Father's given that to me. Okay, I have the ability to do that. And there is a such thing as tough love too, though. So um, don't mistake it for weakness. I love every single one of you, and thank you for coming out. And I will talk to you soon. All right, shalom.